All right, Dave.
Cameras ready?
Oh, and is there anything you could have done differently, or did Chris Gale do what Chris Gale does?
Yeah, he did. He certainly did what he does. He was outstanding today in probably conditions that favoured the bat a lot more than the ball. We could have been better in the way we executed our skills, I think. But certainly when he got in, he didn't give any chances and took the attack to our bowlers when he got a chance.
Do you feel the bowling was up to scratch today?
Probably about 80 or 90%. I don't think it was outstanding. I certainly think we bowled with a bit of aggression, and early on, I mean, he faced very little in the power play, and when he did face, the balls were quite attacking balls. I thought in particular he played Adil really well. He's probably the best that's played Adil over the last year or so. So that posed another question that hasn't been asked in a while and put a bit of more responsibility on the bowlers.
Where does it leave you now in terms of this group? Is South Africa a must-win game now?
Yeah, we look at all games as a must-win game. Certainly the next one, given that we've played tonight under similar conditions, probably a little bit worse for the bowlers tonight than it was against New Zealand, but certainly we're better for playing in it. It was a lot more dewy tonight and the ball got a lot more wet. Even at the toss I said I was going to chase, so it could be a big part in the South African game.
Oh, in conditions been what they were, how did you feel halfway about the score you guys posted? Was it in and around what you're after?
We would have liked 200. At no stage we really got going. Guys got themselves in and never really got away from the West Indies. I thought they showed a little bit of experience with the ball and in getting in and out of overs and being a little bit smarter against us. But yeah, we would have liked 200. Certainly 180 was competitive, but 200 was where we were aiming for.
And you mentioned the dew there. Was the dew a problem in not being able to sort of do something to slow Chris down, or was
it sort of eliminated any extra grip with the ball. The ball got quite wet towards the end.
Anyone else? Andrew?
Oh, and you made a big play before this series about your naivety in a good way. You go in with your eyes wide open, but up against West Indies, so many of their players with so much experience of the IPL. I mean, have you just discovered maybe what it is that England have been missing out on, and you can only get better for this sort of experience?
It hasn't opened my eyes. I've been preaching it for a very long time, but certainly I still maintain that our young guys are the way forward. We have a lot of talent tonight competing against a very experienced side. As you said, I've played a lot of tournaments around the world. Bar one innings, I think if we had taken Gale's wicket pretty early, we would have got right into them.
Owen, has tonight's experience kind of told you that in terms of the batting, which I think you say is your strongest suit, that you guys really have to, I guess, double down in terms of the aggression and the attacking instincts that you are trying to put into the game, that you've really got to go for it against South Africa?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. Towards the end of the South African series, we lost momentum a little bit with the bat and didn't play as smart a cricket as we liked to. But a combination of that and an aggressive cricket is what's going to win this tournament. And tonight, the West Indies didn't allow us to convert 20s into 50s or 30s into 60s. So, we didn't do a great deal wrong with the bat. A little bit of credit has to go to them.
There were plenty of big hitters around in the world, but does Gale hit it that little bit further than anybody else?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Pollard. I seen Pollard hit one up onto the top of the pavilion at Lords one time, and that was quite.
I mean, he's obviously when he's doing. I mean, with 11 6s tonight. Is there anything that you can do to stop it? I mean, what's the plan to try and stop it?
There are a number of plans. Obviously, we bowled short at him for a while, and he countered that. But he's a very difficult batsman in the way that you describe him as well. He chews up a lot of dots, but again has a huge ability to take any of our bowlers down just in one over. So, I mean, you try and make the risk in our favour, but tonight his skill level was quite high.
Even Trevor Bellis, your coach, has won 2 IPL titles, and he knows a little bit of 2020 in India and conditions, and Chris Gale as well, because Gale's team has never won an IPL. So was that his inputs were not sufficient, or what did he say about how to contain Gale, and where you have gone wrong?
Again, our plans were pretty good. Execution of them were all right, but he's a world-class player. He played it really well tonight. 43 ball 100. You can't fault it. It was chanceless as well.
Owen, you're talking about the dew being a factor here. Day after you're going to be playing South Africa, and they also have a lot of destructive batsmen, the De Villiers and name them. So how are you going to counter them?
With plans and try and execute the plans.
Owen, is it intimidating when you face a batsman like that, who you said, he can play some dot balls, sort of lull you into a sense of security, and then go bang, 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 and it's pretty much game over by the 15th over?
I don't think it's a lure into a sense of security. Everybody knows how he plays. He's played that way for a very long time, and that's just the way he plays. So coming into the game, if he did get himself in, we did expect that. We've played against him before where it's worked in our favour, but tonight was his night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. No training, put the 4.
That's a big one. Big statement for the rest of the
You think it's a big statement, but there's more to come. It was great to see the way how we played, even from the start. I think this is a 180 is a pass score for this ground, and we tried to make sure that they didn't go much past that. And I was happy to see how things went in the field too. So I think the batting will take care of itself, but what we do in the field is going to make us during this tournament.
Good on the bowling and any improvements you would like to see along that line?
I think the first six, the last three of us in the first six, we still gave away a little bit too many. But we started well, and I think down in the end the ball started to get slippery, so it was hard. But you can't really complain about the way we did in the field.
2012 we saw Gangnam Style. So now we see a new sort of a jig. Can you just tell us about the new jig the West Indies are doing?
The new jig. The new jig is called
Champion?
It's the Champion. It's from Dwayne Bravo's new single. So that's the dance from the single.
Phil, whatever Chris has been doing, he makes it look ridiculously easy, but I'm sure there's probably a lot more method than the instinct that sort of comes through. Is it really that effortless and natural alone, or if there is a lot of homework and prep work that goes in the background, could you just elaborate on that a bit?
I think it's as simple as you see it, because as you know, this is the first time I'm really with the T20 team since I've been back, and sitting and talking to him and trying to see how he works this out. And it's as simple as he makes it look out there. He actually analyzes it as simple as he does it. So there's no thing. I mean, he practices hard. He hits a lot of balls in the nets and things, but he works it out just as he did today. You know, Rashid is my bowler for the day, and I've got to take him down. So it's as simple as that.
Coach, you in your playing days, you batted alongside Richards, Richardson, Greenwich, some of the great names in West Indies cricket. In terms of the ability to destroy an attack, how does Chris compare with those names?
To destroy an attack like that, I think the only person I would, in my time, that I'd put him with is Sir Vivian. Because Sir Vivian used to go out there and just destroy attacks like that too. So I think he's up there with Sir Viv in the way he tears apart attacks.
As a coach, what do you tell Chris Gayle?
Bat 15 overs for me. That's all I need from you. And I know that once you bat 15 overs, we're somewhere near to the target that we want, whether we're setting or chasing.
Phil, during your time you used to bowl as well, and a game like cricket, bowlers should be allowed to make mistakes at times and get away with it. But when Chris is batting, it's like they just can't make a mistake. He just like miss the length by a little and they go out of the ground. At times you just sit outside and think it's a little unfair the way it goes.
Yeah, it's always been unfair. It's always been a batsman's game, you know. So one bouncer, no ball, free hit. It's always been a batsman's game. So nothing's changed there.
Phil, England's bowling attack quite inexperienced, not much certainly tournament experience around the world. Did you look at it, the squad they picked, and quite fancy it for your batsmen?
No, I think the thing about it is, yeah, they're inexperienced, but they've been playing a lot of T20 cricket, and they have skills that they've been executing well in other T20 matches. So you can't really take things for granted. I think it's a case where you have to play it on the day, and one of the bowlers is always going to go on the day. So you have to look at it like that.
Phil, it's obviously Chris's first T20 for since January 2015, isn't it? And obviously there's been so much about West Indies politics leading into this tournament. It's quite a way to make a statement to the board, really, isn't it? To go out there and perform the way you did. I mean, what sort of message can you send back to the board in light of the difficulty you had coming into this tournament?
I don't know. I think that's something that It's a huge advantage because the good thing about it, the first two rounds we play at ideal ground. One, we have 3 players here, and then the next one is Chris's home ground. So it's a huge advantage for us.
We saw a bit of dew out there on the ground. Do you think that's a negative in springtime, and it's definitely an advantage for the side chasing side?
I think it's been there from those 6-7 overs we started having dew. So it will do a little bit for the spin of every team, but it's how you go with it.
So how important was it to win that first game? And do you think, likewise, 2 defeats could almost make it possible to get out of this group the way the tournament set up?
Yeah, the way the tournament set up, I think winning the first game is always going to be huge. And I think the run rate at the end of the day, because I think we wanted to amount of balls to play and things like that, I think those things could come into play in deciding the 2 teams that go forward.
But you think in a certain way, the way Chris Gayle has been playing doesn't paper over some of the obvious cracks that appeared in the team. Basically, with regards to Ramdan's form, which hasn't been great, the pretty shaky top order, and then even with the ball we saw, Jerome Taylor was a little all over the place right at the start. Do you think Gayle sometimes, is there recognition of the fact that there are clear weaknesses that are being concealed because of Gayle alone?
All teams have weaknesses. But all teams have strength too, and if we use our strength and the strength negates your weakness, then that's how you win games. So all teams have weaknesses, and it's up to other people to explore our weaknesses like we will explore it.
Phil, even before Chris started, it was Marlon who really got the innings going, and he hasn't been on the runs in any format in the last year or so. Just what kind of role do you see him playing in this team, and what are the things to do?
I think we all talk about Chris today, but I think Marlon set up the game today nicely for us because of the way he played, and he took a lot of the pressure off Chris, and I think that's the way we've been trying to get him to play, because we know when he plays like that, he's a class act, and if we can get him to play like that in every match, he might get off in every match, but he will get some 70s and 80s also, and he will win games for us very much. But I think he has to be commended today the way he took the pressure off Chris early.
Yeah, mine was also based on Marlon's side. Not often is Chris Gayle kept quiet at the start of the finals.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing there. He took the pressure off Chris, so Chris could settle in. And as I said before, if we can get Chris back in 15 overs in every game, then we'll be close enough to win every game we play.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Yes.